listening to DC Comics Rush Hour, the podcast for DC Comics fans. By me, a DC Comics fan. Good morning. We are at Wednesday, New Comics Day. Of course, that means I don't have a comic to talk about right now. That'll be tomorrow. But what I do have to talk about is Supergirl, since I spent yesterday talking about Metal number 3. Today we'll talk Supergirl, the latest episode. Far or from the tree, or far from the tree, or out of the tree, or in the tree. It's terrible that I can't remember the title exactly. It was a good episode. I'm not making fun of it. The title was good, and the episode was good. I'm just all of a sudden blanking on the title. But it had something to do with a tree, and the whole apple doesn't fall far from the tree type of saying. Alright, so spoiler warning as normal, because I'm going to get into some plot details. This episode had, really, in my opinion, 2 different A blocks. I don't think they had an A and a B. They had 2 different A stories. So the what you would assume would be primary story, if you're a brand new watcher, was Martian Manhunter, John Jones, needs to go to Mars. At the very end of last week's episode, he received a psychic message. We're assuming it's psychic because no one else responded to it around him. But a message from Magan that he was needed on Mars. Okay? So he's going there, and he's come to let Supergirl and Alex know that he's going to be gone for a little bit. And of course, it could be dangerous, so who knows when he'll be back, if ever. Planning to come back, just, it's dangerous. Supergirl, of course, insists that she go with him, which absolutely she should. Even points out, and luckily they didn't push it even further, but points out that if she was going back to her dead planet, he would insist on coming along, so they're family, and she's doing it, and that's that. And he agrees, and yay. The second part of the story is we're heading towards the shower, the wedding shower, for Maggie and Alex, and Kara and Alex's mom is throwing the shower, and that's all cool. If it was just a shower, it probably would be the B block or the B story. However, the bigger part of the story revolves around Maggie's relationship with her parents, specifically her father, and we finally hear more about what happened when she came out to her parents. Well, I guess technically it wasn't coming out to her parents, it was an accidental thing, but we knew just a small bit of it before. Now we get the full story, and she has not spoken with her parents since age 14, I believe was what she said. Alex convinces her that she should call and invite them to the shower, just to see. And she does, and her dad does show up. And that was kind of cool. Her dad, and I don't remember the actor's name, that's terrible. I'm so terrible with actors' names. But he was from 24, season 1. He was Jack Bauer's right-hand man. I know people referred to him as Soul Patch for a long time. But anyway, he plays Dad. It turns out he was also a cop. I don't know if we knew that before, but he had been a cop, and that was where Maggie had learned a lot. She's very strong in this. She's hesitant, but not weak. The times where she's hesitant in the relationship is not because of any weakness or anything else. And that's something she comes to realize throughout the episode, is that she has grown into a strong woman who is comfortable with who she is, and she does not need her father's approval. She would like it. She would love to have that relationship there, but it's not something she needs. I don't know if they will continue this in a future episode or not. I'm guessing, since the actress that plays Maggie Sawyer is leaving. And I'm not sure if she's leaving permanently or leaving with the option to come back for the occasional guest appearance. I don't know which way they're going with it. It's because the actress got another series. Probably better paying, more prominent role and all that. So good for her. But I don't know where they'll take Alex and Maggie's relationship. I don't know if they will have them split up. They've sown the seeds for that already. I don't know if they'll have them split up, or if they will just downplay her role and you just won't see her that often. I mean, that happens supporting character. It doesn't have to be in every single episode. Wow, suddenly everybody just decided to take their foot off the gas. By the way, if you've never listened before, you are joining me on my drive to work in the morning during rush hour, thus the name DC Comics Rush Hour. You'll occasionally hear me suddenly talk about the traffic. Hopefully you won't hear me interact badly with the traffic. But anyway, so everybody's starting to speed up again. Good. So anyway, this episode does seem to go back and forth fairly equally between Maggie and her father, and Alex and her mom, and all together. The relationship is good, is strong, supportive. Yes, there's some political message in there, but this one seems less political and more just supportive. It seemed, from my point of view, which is probably not the most important one here for this relationship, but from my point of view, seemed very balanced and well done and supportive and not preachy. They can get preachy at times with some of their more social or political views, and I'm okay with that from time to time, but this one seemed much more organic and very well done. By the end, her dad just can't deal with the fact that she's lesbian, that she wants to live her life different than what he expected. From his point of view, he was always picked on when he first came to this country for being different, and he clawed and scraped his way up to make a good life for his family so that they would not be picked on for being different. And now she's, from his point of view, voluntarily being different, which is going to cause problems because it's a difference that society still does not accept. However, I do think he's living a little bit in the past because, while I won't say everybody accepts homosexuality in 2017, it is much more accepted and is becoming much more normal. I hate to use the word normal, but you don't think about it as much. There's less of a stigma, definitely less than when he would have been a kid. I can see his point of view. I think that's what works well in the episode is you can see his point of view. I think even Maggie sees his point of view. She just doesn't agree with it. Neither do I, and hopefully most people. But he's wanting what's best for his daughter. And when he first shows up, you can tell he is trying. He loves his little girl. He even still carries her picture. When you see a wedding board thing of a bunch of pictures of Alex at different ages, and he notices there's no picture of Maggie on there. He pulls one out of his wallet. It was a very touching moment, and it let you hope for a while that they were going to reconcile, but I think that probably would have been too easy. I think they went the right way with the story. They were able to get multiple points of view across, but he was trying. And when he first met Alex and realized that she was the fiancée, he wasn't immediately repulsed or anything else. He gets it across later, and I think he really means it, that he himself does not have a problem with his daughter and her life from a personal standpoint. He was wanting more for her, and he worked so hard to give her more in life, and he sees her, again, from his point of view, squandering that and throwing that away, and he doesn't understand how she could do that, and he sees it as an insult to himself. He needs to get over that, and he just needs to support her, and hopefully their last moments together, when she expresses that very well, very clearly, and now she does have support all around her. I really hope that they do just write her character down into a smaller part, but don't actually change the trajectory of it. Hope them get all the way to the wedding and through it and such. Maybe even have her go out of town on a mission for a while occasionally. Anything to where they don't split them up, which I hope they don't do. But I'd love for him to be able to come back and walk her down the aisle. Just have that as she has her closure. He still needs his. And hopefully that's where he can come back and do that. I don't know if we'll get that or not, because again, she's leaving, and they've sown the seeds of Alex wants kids and Maggie doesn't. And while Alex is saying that's okay, you can tell it's really not. And there's a chance that, much like Monica on Friends, if, well, alright, I just got hit by drywall. Sorry, don't get hit by drywall every day driving down the road. Okay, well, anyway, I'll explain that maybe not. I don't know. Well, maybe it'll give it a mystery. I didn't drive into drywall, if that helps. It's just flying through the air. Anyway, so they could split them up, because Alex decides she has to have kids, and Maggie just doesn't want that, and they realize they just can't be together. It's just not going to work. By the way, the drywall just fell off the front of my car and I ran over it. Hopefully I'm okay tire-wise. Hopefully it was just that, no nails or any staples or anything bad in it. Okay, if this is your first time listening, you're probably thinking, what the heck am I listening to? That's just part of it. That's why you're getting car noise and everything else. So the other part of the story, which you would think is the main part, is Supergirl and John going to Mars. Turns out that there is a small resistance. Magan has found them and is organizing them. But the main white Martians, as it turns out, have still been keeping one green Martian prisoner for the last couple hundred years. Turns out it's John's father, the main religious leader of the Greens. And in their religion history, there was a staff. I don't remember the name of the staff, but a staff that's super powerful, and the whites would be able to use to wipe out all the Greens. Very powerful and such. And he knew where it was, and it's not broken all this time, but they found it anyway. So now they need the resistance needs to find it before they do. When I say they found it, they found where it is. At least that's the way it's presented, and they want John's father to tell them where to go get it so they can get it before the whites. And they can't get him to respond. He's just going to see it as a trick. 200 years of torture and everything else, he's going to see it as a trick. So they get John there, and you get a lot of back and forth between the father and son, where the father does not believe that's really his son. He thinks it's just more tricks of theirs. They go to their old house, and it's done really, really well, I believe. The father-son relationship is shown very well. The Martian CGI is done very well in this episode. They put a lot of effort. I'm sure the budget on this one was much higher than, say, last week's. They did a really good job of making this a father-son story there and a father-daughter story on the other. And honestly, Supergirl and her sister Alex, who in general are the main characters, they take a back seat. They are supporting characters throughout the whole thing. Supergirl's important, and she has some great fun lines with John's car and leading the surprise attack against the whites and such. One of the cool things, though, in the episode is John's father is played by Carl Lumbly, which, if you're not aware, was the voice of the Martian Manhunter in Justice League Unlimited. So, what I have thought of for many, many years as the voice of John Jones, the Martian Manhunter, gets to be in the episode, and at the end, he is rescued. There's no sacrificing himself at the last minute to save his son after all this time. He gets to come back to Earth, and looks like he's going to be a recurring character from time to time. I don't know how often, but very cool. They're expanding their supporting cast even more. So, with that, except they do... Oh, now I've got somebody just walking on the road in front of me. Wow, what a day. And she looks like she has no clue what she's doing. Anyway, they managed to get the staff, save the father, save the rebellion. They do turn the staff back over to John and Supergirl to take back to Earth, saying that there's you know, it is too powerful that it can't be left in the hands of either side. They need to win the right way, which, okay, but, you know, I think I still, if I was the rebel side, I think I would have held on to it, win, and then turn it over. But, you know, maybe they're better people than I am. I don't know. Just very convenient. Maybe they didn't want the war to end too soon. Who knows? Anyway, the story is really good. I will say there's probably more emotional depth conveyed in the father-daughter side than in the father-son side. Not because of acting or anything else. I just think they probably gave him a few more minutes, and it was just really, really well done. But I love the Martian part of the story. I thought every part of the story this week worked really, really well. Looking forward to next week. Looking forward to seeing what comes next. Still looking forward to finding out what happened to Mon-El. They promised us we'd find out in the first few minutes of the first episode, and here we are 3 episodes in, and we still don't know. The actor is still listed in the opening credits, so we know that he's coming back, but when and how, we'll have to wait and see. So I'm sitting in the parking garage. It's time for me to go to work. Rush hour is over for me. So for DC Comics Rush Hour, this is John Paul saying, long live the Legion.